Hi, I'm Cadry from Cadry's Kitchen, and I'm here today with Ketty from the very entertaining and humorous blog, Luminous Vegans. Hi, Ketty.
Hi, Cadry and Cadry's Kitchen readers. My name is Ketty, and I run Luminous Vegans.
Ketty, what inspired you to go vegan?
What inspired me to go vegan was actually pretty superficial. I was dating a guy in college who was vegan, and I was trying to impress him. But what made me stay vegan was the movie Earthlings by Shaun Monson. So I'm actually grateful to the ex-boyfriend for planting the vegan seed and the movie Earthlings for letting the seed grow roots.
Tell us about the diet you grew up eating and how that's different from the way that you eat today.
The diet I grew up eating was, when my mom cooked, was full of really good, authentic Thai dishes. But of course, at that time, when I was a kid, I didn't want to eat that stuff. I wanted hot dogs, hamburgers, all that junky, kind of Americanized foods. So as soon as I was old enough to make my own food or buy my own food, that's kind of what I gravitated towards, junk food, French fries, things like that. That is vastly different from how I eat nowadays. I still love my vegan junk food, but I think it's better balanced by healthier things such as spinach and kale and just more fruits and vegetables in general.
How did your family react when you told them you were going vegan?
When I told my family I was going vegan, it was kind of a mixed response. On one hand, I had my mom, and she was super supportive, and she showed me how to cook tofu and how to use this stuff called thin sauce, which is basically thin soy sauce instead of fish sauce. So she was really awesome about it. My dad, on the other hand, I think when I went to visit his house and I told him, that I was cutting all this stuff out of my diet and whatnot, he told me that I could eat the grass outside. He thought I was joining some kind of cult or something like that. Nowadays, though, it's obviously he's not like that anymore. And in fact, I think he's starting to incorporate a lot of vegan meals into his life.
Are there any things that you thought would be hard when you went vegan that turned out to be easy?
The thing that I thought would be hard when I went vegan was cheese, because I love cheese. And 10 years ago, it actually was kind of hard because a lot of the vegan cheeses in the supermarket were kind of gross. They didn't melt, they had a weird texture, and maybe they tasted funny. But nowadays, it's so easy. You can find vegan cheeses in any supermarket. It doesn't have to be a specialty market. And they melt good, they melt well, they taste good, and they have like a bunch of different flavors. And you can also make vegan cheeses at home too, which is one of my favorite ways to make cheese. I use cashews.
What would you say is the biggest misconception about vegans?
The biggest misconception about vegans is that we're judgmental when it comes to non-vegans. And the thing is, I wasn't born vegan, and a lot of the vegans I know weren't born that way either. I made a change in my lifestyle, and I think as long as people are open-minded and compassionate, that they're capable of change. So if someone eats meat, cheese, or dairy, I'm not going to judge them because, maybe they just haven't been exposed to the vegan lifestyle.
Ketty, do you have any companion animals?
I have 2 companion animals, and they're both retired greyhounds. One is a boy, and his name is Miles, and the other is a girl, and her name is Nico. And if you're curious as to what they look like, they actually make regular appearances on the blog.
You have so many wonderful recipes on your blog. Tell us about your favorite.
My favorite personal recipe on my blog is cashew cheese. It's a favorite of mine because it's really easy to make. You just take a bunch of stuff and you throw it in a blender, and then it's good to go. And so I usually eat it on bread, on crackers, with vegetables, but it's also good because you can add it to different dishes. So you can just throw a couple tablespoons in mashed potatoes, and then you'll have like creamy, cheesy mashed potatoes, or you can throw some in lasagna. It just makes any dish that I'm eating, it just takes it up a notch. It makes it creamy and cheesy and delicious.
Tell us about the kitchen gadget that you couldn't live without.
The kitchen gadget I could not live without, hands down, is my Vitamix, because that thing it was pretty life-changing for me. And it sounds dramatic, but it's kind of true. You know, all of the raw dishes I was making, the cashew cheeses, suddenly they were just so smooth and they didn't have any grit in it, and I didn't have to run it through a cheesecloth to remove any of the small bits. I use mine at least once a day, sometimes twice a day. Soups, sauces, what else? Smoothies. And here's a little hint for people, because Vitamix, they can be kind of expensive, but if you go on their website and look for reconditioned Vitamixes, you can get one for like $100 cheaper, which is what I did, and mine runs perfectly fine. By the way, I don't work for them, I just really like Vitamix.
So, Ketty, thank you so much for coming on today. It's been a real treat having you here.
Thanks, Cadry, for having me. Bye.
We'll see you next time, everybody.